Back on record.
Yeah, we're back on the record. You've met me, I'm Lloyd Halbrun, I'm one of Janet Fosdick's attorneys, along with Brian Smith. I would just ask you, during my questions, to remember the same rules he gave you about
Okay.
nodding, shaking your head, things like that.
Okay.
Okay. A couple quick questions from the very end. Kyle Dale, do you remember his apartment number?
No, I don't, because the apartment numbers were weird. My apartment's on the front side, on Coquina side, went 1 through 4, but then they wrapped around and they were weird numbers. I could show you the apartment, but I can't really tell you. But then he moved, Sandy Shoes also has property, it's also considered Sandy property on Benny Drive. And he moved over to the unit on the back side, so where I'd park in my parking lot, his apartment was right there.
Prior to this incident, end of May 2015, how long did Kyle Dale live at your complex? The best that you can remember.
I'm gonna say at least a year. But I can't, say that. I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Okay. You said he was on Facebook?
Yes,
Is this his Facebook?
and that's the dog.
And that's the dog. Okay.
And just for council showing me on his phone Facebook page for Kyle Dale, and it's got a picture of a dog with its tongue hanging out next to a fire hydrant.
Okay, and this is the dog you described as a pit bull?
Yes,
And that's the dog that lived at least a year with
I believe.
Kyle Dale before the incident at Sandy Shoes?
yes.
Okay. Greg Anderson, do you remember what apartment Greg Anderson was in?
He also moved from apartment to apartment, so he lived in, I think, 3 different units.
And refresh my recollection, what kind of dog did he have? He had the bulldog?
I want to say it was a French bulldog. It had an ugly face. The dog's name was Bella.
Okay.
Other people live there with dogs, but I can't recall their names, and
Okay. You said there were 2 people upstairs with Goldens.
no,
Okay.
Christine had the golden retrievers.
Christine had a Golden, and Christine would bring,
I don't know if she would bring them over, but occasionally Devon would have them over, or he would pick them up from the groomers or something.
and they would be staying at the premises with Devon in his
I don't
apartment.
know how long they would stay there, but I've seen them there, yes.
At least overnight on occasion? If you know.
Maybe one time. Like I said, I wasn't there 24 hours. I can't say that they spent the night because I don't know what they did when I went home or whatever.
I remembered incorrectly. You said there were 2 other dogs upstairs?
Yes.
Okay, what were they? Again.
There was a separate entrance to the upstairs. They had a back entrance and they had another entrance from the parking lot. Pit bulls, I know that they complained that they were tearing up the hardwood floors. And it was a couple that lived up there. There was another lady that lived up there. But I don't remember their names.
Okay, do you remember what apartments they were in?
There was only 1 2-bedroom apartment upstairs.
Okay. And how long did they have the dogs there before May 2015?
I don't know if they weren't there specifically at Maine. I think they moved out, but they had been there a while, in previous years.
Now, you informed Devon and on several occasions that Petey was staying with you.
Yes,
And
and he would
Devon
see the
said,
dog.
I'm sorry?
He would see the dog.
He would see the dog and he would occasionally let the dog out into the courtyard
I don't know
and
where
walk
he
the dog.
walked the dog.
He'd walk the dog.
You gotta let him finish asking his
Okay.
entire question. She can't get 2 people talking.
Okay.
Just to make sure it's clear, he would walk the dog when you were not home, Devon.
That's what he told me.
And his title was what with reference to Sandy Shoes, if you know?
Property manager?
Okay. You also referred to Tony and his wife as property managers after Devon left.
Yes.
Were they also residents prior to Devon leaving?
Yes.
Okay. What, did they have a position with Sandy Shoes at that time?
I believe the understanding was they took care of the property, Sandy Shoes, also on Benny Drive.
Okay. But they lived at your Sandy Shoes?
No, they lived, when Devon moved out, they moved into Devon's old place, but they lived on the Sandy Shoes on Benny Drive.
Okay. But were, as far as you know, both the Sandy Shoes run under the same rules?
Yes.
And Tony's wife's name was what? You said it quickly and I didn't catch it.
Kathy?
With a C or with a K, do you know?
I think it's with a K.
Okay. And can you remember his last name?
No.
And he had and his wife had a dog as well?
Yes.
And what type of dog was that?
I don't know what type.
Okay. Large dog or small dog?
Small dog?
Okay. Did Devon have his own dogs or he only watched dogs for other people?
No, he had his own dog.
What kind of dog did he have?
I think it was like a Cocker Spaniel.
Did you ever see these other dogs without leashes during the time they were at Sandy Shoes?
Yes.
And you saw a number of dogs that were staying there prior to May of 2015 that were clearly over 25 pounds. Pit bulls,
Yes.
golden retrievers.
Yes.
Was Petey over 25 pounds at the time he was staying with you?
I don't think so. I think he was right at 25. Guessing?
Now, you called him a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yes.
You're aware that Staffordshire Bull Terriers is one of a group of similar-looking dogs that are generally referred to as pit bulls.
Yes.
Would you describe him as a pit bull if you didn't get more specific by calling him a Staffordshire Bull Terrier?
He didn't look like a standard pit bull. He looked, his markings and everything were like Petey on the Little Rascals. That's why he was named Petey.
Okay. How do you know that?
Because that's what Ron told me.
Oh, okay. Now, you, in your note to Christine Koch, referred to his last name as maybe being Laro or Loro,
Again.
and then, then you thought his name was Van Hayes.
Right.
Is that one name or two?
To be honest, I don't know.
Okay. Is Hayes H-A-Y-S or H-A-Y-E-S?
That I don't know either. I've
Okay.
never seen it written down, basically.
Okay. You said you met him originally on social media?
On a dating site?
Dating site. Was he also on Facebook?
I don't know.
Okay. Was he ever a Facebook friend of yours?
At one time, I think he was.
Okay. And you never really had his phone number? Is that what you
did have
testified
his-
to?
I did have his phone number.
Okay.
He changed jobs, whether he changed phone numbers, I don't know, company phones, I don't know. How, at one time, I did have his phone number.
Did you have his phone number on the date of the incident in May 2015?
No.
Did you make any attempt to contact him after my client was bitten?
I had no way to contact him.
Absolutely no way to contact him.
No.
Okay. But a few days later, a friend came by and picked up the dog?
He didn't pick up the dog because I didn't have the dog.
Okay, that's what I was a little unclear about. And did the friend seem to know about the incident when you came there?
Nobody knew about it, other than the people that were there.
Just going back to what you said, you were cited, I believe you said it was on the June 11th, approximately 2 weeks after the incident, 10 days to 2 weeks. by Animal Care and Control, and one of the citations was for no registration. Is
Yes.
that correct? You paid that,
Yes.
okay, even though what you're saying it wasn't your dog.
I don't believe I had a choice because in everything that I had, when I went to the court to, obviously I didn't have the money to pay all these, so I had to make payment arrangements, and I was told that if I didn't pay this, I was going to lose my license. And I did not want to lose my license, so I made payment arrangements through the courts.
Okay, you were told you would lose what license?
My driver's license, if I did not pay these tickets.
If you didn't pay a ticket for a dog, you were gonna lose your driver's license?
All these tickets,
Okay. So you paid all three.
yes.
Did you ever try, after the time that you tried to talk to the Animal Care and Control officer, and he wouldn't talk to you, did you ever try to convince anyone at the court that it wasn't your dog?
I mean, nobody was gonna listen to me.
Okay.
So when I got these tickets, my thing is, okay, I gotta pay these, and I have to make payment arrangements. I'm not gonna lose my driver's license, and I don't wanna, be in trouble. So I didn't know who else to,
Did Ron reimburse you?
no.
Did you ever speak to him after the incident?
Yes,
Okay, did you ever ask him to reimburse you?
I asked him for a lot of things,
Okay,
but of course I didn't get anything.
okay. So he didn't reimburse you at all,
No.
and you let it go?
Yes.
Let me show you a couple things to see if you can identify them. We have some exhibits from Mrs. Let me shut this off, it's blowing my paper all over the place.
Well, first you asked for air, now you.
Well, I asked for the AC, I didn't ask for all right, I'll suffer.
Well, I can turn it down.
I didn't realize I couldn't just adjust the temperature in the room. I'm not that technical, We have what was marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 2 for Kathleen Koch's deposition. Have you ever seen a business card like that before?
I'm sure they had it at the office, which was their house. I
Okay.
personally don't have one.
Okay. And he's already asked you about exhibit number 3, which was the pet rules, so I won't go there. There's an additional set of rules that are just part of the general rules of regulations that Mrs. Koch testified were given to every tenant. Do you remember being given that?
Yes, because I remember the courtyard rules.
Okay. And do you remember the dog rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing the other paper said.
Okay. For the record, that's the second page of exhibit number 3 from Mrs. Koch's deposition. We have here, they're not great copies, there are 2 different copies of what Mrs. Koch identified as your rental application, exhibit number 4 from her deposition. See if you can read these and tell me if you recollect those documents.
Are they the same one?
Well,
They're just copies?
one copy didn't come through very well when it was produced to us, and I believe it was counsel had a better copy in his file. That's why we used 2 different copies as exhibit number 4 for her depo. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Was that your application to rent at Sandy Shoes on the Beach?
Yes.
And did you sign that?
Yes.
Anyone else sign it?
Doesn't look like it.
Fair enough. We have Exhibit 5A and 5B, which she identified as your leases. Now, you attached some copies of that to a document we'll discuss later, but take a quick look through this and tell me if you can identify those as your leases as well with Sandy's shoes.
Looks like it. Looks like just another 6-month lease. Yes,
All right, you renew your lease every
Yeah.
6 months.
yes.
Okay.
Are these just copies or?
They're subsequent dated leases,
Okay.
we believe, but you need to let us know what they are.
Leases.
And they all have not only in the pet rules, but each of those leases has references to pets, do they not?
Yes.
Then, I believe this is the same document that council identified as Exhibit A for this deposition, but this one's in blue, so it's probably either an original or a good copy. Can you identify that as the same letter?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember how long, because it's not dated, after the incident, did you write that letter to Christine Koch and give it to Devin to deliver to her?
No, but he asked me to write this letter. Per Christine.
Can you even narrow it down within a couple of weeks, months later, anything like that?
I can't, I don't know.
Okay. Did you write that letter before you got this note from Christine on your door about what paying an extra $375?
That was months later.
Okay. That was months after this letter?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did everything that you write in that letter, was everything you wrote in that letter true and correct?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And just for the record, it was identified as Exhibit 6 in Mrs. Koch's depot.
Was this before or after that? Red.
I don't know.
Okay, he whispered, I'll say it out loud for the record. Was this letter written before or after the red door hanger from Animal Care Control?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I was asked to write that, to put it in I was also asked to go and obtain copies of the police report for Christine Koch.
Okay. Now, this letter says animal control didn't come until almost 2 weeks later and never took a statement from me. By that, can you infer it was actually after that door hanger
Yes, I guess.
from the content?
Yes.
Okay, and you also said you told the cops Petey had been there maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. Now, that's the truth, right? You wouldn't have lied to the cops,
No.
right?
It's been 3 years, so I can't.
That's fair, that's why we're using it to refresh your recollection. So, let me ask you a couple more questions. Did you get the impression from that note from Kathleen Koch, she wanted $375 as a result of this dog incident for a one-time fee?
Yes.
Okay.
Christine.
I
Yes.
thought it said
You
Christine.
say
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
You say Catherine.
All right, let me restate it then. Were you being requested from Christine Koch to pay $375 as a result of the dog incident?
Yes.
And it was characterized as a one-time fee?
Or my rent being increased for the duration.
Okay. And you paid that over time?
No, I did make a few payments,
Okay,
and then I received a letter from her saying, you know, you misunderstood. I need this all at one time, or your rent's gonna be increased.
okay.
So basically, I think I might have paid $75. I think I was paying it by the week,
Okay,
I think. And then at that time, it was, that $75 was just lost because then my rent was increased.
okay.
I did not have the $375 to pay her one time.
Okay, so you got two notes from Ms. Koch regarding this increase, not just that first note asking for $375. You got a second note saying you misunderstood.
I guess probably, yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember if I actually talked to her or if it was a note,
Okay.
but
You don't, the second time you don't remember if it was a note?
no, I believe it was a note because she said, you're confused. This is not, you know, I either get this money now or, and I think I wrote the letter back and I said, well, I did this in good faith and I've already made payment. So yes, I was confused. So then I have to take the rent increase.
Okay, because these notes were not produced to us as part of your file from them.
Correct. I don't know where they are and like with the move from there, I've moved 3 or 4 more times. I don't.
Well, I'm not just asking, I'm not just saying they weren't produced by you, they weren't produced by Sandy Shoots either.
Oh, I'm sure they weren't.
Okay. This was a response to a request of dues you filed with the court, and I want to just identify this as, I'm going to call it Titus Exhibit number 7 to just go in order from the previous deposition. To take a quick look at this and read through it and confirm that is indeed what you filed with the court.
Yes, it's right here.
Okay.
You want me to go?
Yeah, please go through. I want to just confirm on the record that it was what you produced.
Yes.
Okay. For the record, let me, let's mark this as plaintiff 7, counsel. All right, and just for the record, this has 2 pages that appear to be handwritten, signed and dated by you,
Yes.
and this is what you wrote and filed a record with the court.
Yes.
Okay, and everything you wrote here is true and correct.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a couple of lease extensions.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's a couple of tickets from Animal Care and Control.
Yes.
And these are the same documents you were referring to during this deposition.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a record that you paid for all 3 of these tickets from the clerk of court.
Yes.
And then there's what looks like, I didn't realize at the time because I've only seen the original now, but this last page is actually a copy of the red door hanger that you have the original here.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else in your pile, and take a quick look through this, that relates to this incident that has not been produced?
That I have in my file?
Yes. Just in case by accident you have something you didn't produce?
Just in this packet right here?
Yes, because you
No,
were
because they're
asked.
exactly the same.
What?
They're exactly the same.
Everything you have there?
Everything I have here is basically just stuff from you, court papers.
Okay.
I mean, just in my receipts from
Okay.
money orders.
All right,
It's
but-
just, it's your stuff.
Okay, so all the documents that you have in your possession were produced at our request
Yes,
and are now part of exhibit number 7.
yes.
Let me go back. I've skipped around a little, but let me go back and find if there's a few more things that I have forgotten.